How long is too long to expect your partner to hold off on intimacy?
27F25M. My 27F partner, 25M, and I just had our first baby 7 weeks ago. My father's funeral was the day before she was born. Because of how far along I was, we weren't able to attend the funeral. The doctor would not give their blessing for travel, and my family lives hundreds of miles away. Ever since we hit the 6-week mark, he's been pressuring me for intimacy.
Between grieving for my dad and caring for a newborn, I haven't felt in the mood at all.
We have had sex once since baby was born and it was painful.
I am not interested in having sex at all right now. From the time we wake up to when we go to sleep, I feel like he's trying to pressure me for sex. He'll say stuff like I could at least give him a blowjob. But if I'm not in the mood, I don't think I should have to. How long is it reasonable to expect your partner to go without intimacy?
Should I seek out a doctor because I have no sex drive? I just saw it as something normal between just having a child and grieving such a huge loss.
But I'm starting to feel bad because I can clearly tell it bothers him that I don't want to have sex.
A lot of the time he'll try to initiate and then just go silent or leave the room when I say no. I've tried explaining I'm just not in the mood. I feel like a terrible partner, but I also don't feel like I should have to be intimate when I don't want to be.
The reasonable amount of time is however long it takes for you to feel comfortable having sex again. Try explaining to him how you feel and why you don't want to have sex. If he doesn't accept it, then you know exactly what type of person he really is.
He's being an insensitive and deeply selfish jerk.
I cared for my dying mother during her last few months and then pretty much fell apart after she passed. That all told, it was about 7 months where the only form of intimacy I could even think about was spooning, and even then, I had to be the big spoon. Because I couldn't even let myself be held without feeling claustrophobic and panicky or falling into a hysterical crying fit.
My husband, bless his heart, never once complained. He was just sad that he couldn't fix it for me.
Sex was mostly off the table for him when his dad took ill and for a while after his death.
When I had an itch that wouldn't go away, I knew perfectly well how to manage my own needs while he healed. Yikes. You lost your father and just pushed a baby out. He can use a cock sleeve. What an insensitive fuck. Honestly, I would have yelled at him for being that insensitive. I didn't have sex for like 4 or 5 months. I'm allowed to heal and feel like a human again. 6 weeks is the minimum.
That's just the point where your huge gaping internal wound, where the placenta attached, is healed enough that you won't be bleeding, risk reopening it, or risk things entering right through the wound. By no means are you fully healed at 6 weeks from childbirth and pregnancy.
It clearly bothers him that you don't want to have sex?
Well, it should clearly bother you that you have a freaking newborn and all he can think about is sex and what you can do for him. You just had a baby for him.
9 months of pregnancy and then childbirth. He should be thinking what he can do for you.
Clearly this man isn't caring for his newborn enough if he has time and energy to ask so much and then go pout.
Sounds like he needs to do more solo care of his baby.
Ask him if he would want to be intimate after losing his father and a rubber egg being squeezed through his penis, and buy him a flashlight or something. Smile.
I 28F am pregnant with our second baby. 28M husband wants me to abort and divorce me.
Please help? My husband and I have been married for almost 2 years. We have a 15-month-old and we plan to have this second baby. Our relationship has always been up and down. But recently when we were doing good, we talked about having a second child close in age to our first, and now I'm 10 weeks pregnant. About 2 weeks ago we got in a major argument which turned into him sleeping in a hotel every night and not coming home to see our son or talk to me. His mom thinks I should get an abortion, which I think has been part of his whole shift in not wanting this baby anymore.
Because he was really excited about it prior to her saying that. He's been so mean and avoidant, and I just don't know how to get through to him. I've already had 2 abortions prior to our marriage with him. And on top of all this, he wants a divorce, or he wants me to sign a post-nup. I found out he's in Vegas right now with his buddy, and he told me he isn't wearing his wedding ring. He's been following random girls on Instagram. It's just too much. From the beginning I've been very excited to have this baby and really didn't even consider an abortion until now that infidelity is in question. And just coming to realize how horrible he's been. I've been praying over him and our marriage every day, and it just seems like it gets worse and worse. I'm starting to question my faith. Honestly, I just don't know what to do.
We've had one face-to-face conversation this entire time where we could talk about our feelings, but other than that he continues to stonewall me, gaslight me into thinking our friends and family don't like me, gaslight me into thinking all of this is my fault, and is coercing me into an abortion and a divorce that I don't want.
Please help. From what you've described, your marriage is over.
Do not sign anything without speaking to your own lawyer first.
The only things you can do now are, 1. Get a lawyer, and follow their advice. 2. Find somewhere safe where you and your kid can stay. Move out only if your lawyer advises it. 3. Reach out to your friends and family and build a support system. 4.
Cut off all communication with his family, and have his communication go through your lawyer.
5.
Decide if you can raise 2 kids without his help, or just 1.
Edited to add to point number 2. Girl, if you don't stop praying and hire a lawyer already ISTG. Your marriage is over.
Do not sign anything from this trash bag of a man.
Wise up.
Get a lawyer.
And start the separation.
Your husband is an ass. Get to an attorney now.
Now.
Your marriage isn't great. He's basically abandoned you and tried to manipulate you into an abortion.
Try praying for the money to get a great attorney. How much more crap should you put up with?
He doesn't help with the baby because of work but can run off to Vegas to cheat on his pregnant wife?
Keep the child, abort the husband.
Why does your husband and his mom want you to have an abortion? What did you fight about?
I'd get an abortion and a divorce.
Unless you can support 2 kids alone, then just get the divorce. Don't count on this guy for helping if he's already running and playing games. Girlfriend, 25F, thinks she's out of my 23M/S league. How would you react? During arguments or if the topic comes up, my girlfriend will call me a twig or insult my hairline. Today, I let her know how frustrating it is that she openly acts like she's too attractive for me or that I'm lucky to have her.
She responds by saying, well, if everyone told you were more attractive than me, you'd feel the same way.
When I showed coworkers at my last 2 places of work your picture, they laughed and acted confused.
They clearly thought I could do better. I'm not a twig. I'm 6 feet 0, 170 lb with low body fat.
I'm just not massively jacked.
I know that a bodybuilder was talking to her in the past, so she probably considers anyone not absolutely jacked skinny. We have been together for 2.5 years and live together 5 hours away from home. I want to get past it. She agreed to stop saying these things to me, but I don't know if I can. I can't just hang out in relaxed fashion with her anymore because I'm always thinking about these things.
I feel so bad about myself knowing she thinks I'm a twig and that I'm lucky to have her. How would you all feel?
Too long did not read. Girlfriend told me she thinks she's out of my league and that I'm a twig.
Wow, what an asshole she is. Don't stay with someone who insults you. That's emotional abuse.
Also, making you feel like you couldn't find anyone better than her is a cruel way to address her own insecurities. It makes you believe you're unworthy of better treatment.
Not everyone wants to date a bodybuilder. If I were you, I'd leave her before she damages your self-esteem even further.
There are plenty of women who would be thrilled to date you.
Clearly you are not out my league since you have been with me for 2.5 years, but if you are so sure that you can do better, we should break up.
I am not going to be with someone who doesn't see me as her number one. That's what I would tell someone who spoke to me that way. I think sometimes people forget that. Yes, you can find someone hotter to have sex with, but there's so much more involved in a successful relationship than looks. Finding a quality partner in this dating environment is tough.
Dump her. Man, woman, non-binary, whatever, you know what happens when you stay with someone who insults you like this.
You start to believe it, and then you're trapped.
If she really thought she's out of your league, she'd have left a long time ago. Don't let her wear you down like this.
No matter what other qualities she might have that aren't shit, it's not worth feeling awful about yourself to keep her. She doesn't respect you.
That's the most important thing in a relationship, by the way. Everyone has different levels of respect they consider OFC.
Decide for yourself.
It's a good thing to be young. You shouldn't put up with a narcissist and someone with such low value to their partner.
Tell her she's right, and to kick her out, or just pack up and move. You will find someone who'll appreciate you in a much better and loving way. Good luck. I, 26 male, Thinking of ending things with my 25 female fiancé?
As the title says, I'm really struggling and need some advice. I've been with my fiancé for 3.5 years. We've gone through a lot of ups and downs, good times and bad, but lately we've just been bickering and fighting over the littlest things.
She doesn't have a social group outside of my friends, which can be taxing because it seems like I'm her source of entertainment.
I've tried to get too involved in hobbies or interests she might enjoy, but to no avail.
She says I barely make an effort in the relationship, i.e. getting her flowers unexpectedly. I do, but not at a once-a-week rate.
I don't buy her little gifts. I don't take her out on dates. I do, but she usually ends up unsatisfied or complaining about what we went to do. And it's frustrating because I work a high-stress job and pay 85% of our monthly bills. By the end of the day I'm pretty tapped out socially and just looking to chill. She fills our weekends with outings that I don't want to go to most of the time. But if I voice that opinion I get guilt-tripped about not wanting to spend time with her. We have no kids, no assets together, 2 dogs, and that's about it. My dad made a comment to me today at dinner with just the 2 of us that I don't seem as happy anymore, and he sees how I act around her. She occasionally will make out-of-pocket comments towards me in public and home, about me being a dumbass, or being overweight. Now I'm not saying I hate her, or don't love her. However, I'm just burnt out and don't know what to do. 2 months ago I had a sit-down conversation with her and aired everything out. I told her I didn't even want to consider planning the wedding until we fixed our issues. I told her that if we stayed on the current course it wouldn't be sustainable.
She really seemed to try to work on things for a while after the conversation, but lately has been slipping back into the old habits of fighting and arguing about petty things, making hurtful comments, just being generally bitter and negative about life.
I guess I'm at a loss. I care for her and don't want to hurt her, but I cannot live the next 60 years of my life tied to someone who makes me feel like this.
You sound miserable. Be thankful you realized this before you married.
We are who we are, and changing is very difficult.
You would be wise to end the relationship and move on. Now I'm not saying I hate her.
Bro.
I think you know what the answer is here. I mean, you're engaged.
Apart from the honeymoon, if you're most couples, this is the easiest it will ever be.
Try and think of how it will be with her 20, 30 years down the line. Is there any chance you don't enormously resent her?
Go to couples therapy if you think there's still a chance that both of you can change.
See if you can't learn to communicate better and adjust expectations of each other. But if it was me, there's no way I'm locking myself into a marriage with her. You aren't compatible.
You can love someone, but they are not the right person for you.
It doesn't sound like you love her anymore. If you are done, you need to tell her.
She insults you so easily?
You deserve better, tell her that. You only have one life, why waste it with someone that is consistently unpleasant and picking on you? She sounds awful demanding, and love is not genuine if it is demanded or forced.
If it were me, I would cut my losses and find someone that treats you better and respectfully.